Hi guys, today we will be making foaming hand soap. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I made a recipe of foaming hand soap using Castile soap or sal-suds and water and essential oils. But I was looking for an even cheaper version, something that maybe I could just use whatever I had around the house that I didn't have to buy. And that's where this recipe comes in. We will be using bar soap scraps, and I will heat that up with some water. I will strain it into a bowl and then decant it into my container of choice. So this way it is truly free, because otherwise you would probably throw those scraps of soap out, right? So with that, let's get to the ingredients list. The ingredients list is actually pretty short, right? All we have is our soap scraps. Now, I took the liberty of grating my soap just to make it a little bit finer and more even. That way it melts a little bit better and a little bit faster. So it's not completely necessary to grate the soap, but it's preferred. You will also need water. Now, I am using it right from the container here because this is the container that I will decant the final product back into. So it's just a convenient way of measuring the amount of water that I will need. For utensils, I will be using my pot. This is just an old pot that I had laying around. A strainer, fine mesh strainer. A funnel to decant into my container of choice, and then a bowl to put it in before I decant so that it can cool. So with that, let's get to making the actual foaming soap. Okay, it's pretty easy what we do here. We just start out by adding the water to our pot. And then our grated soap. Okay, and then I turn this on, a pretty high heat. We aren't going to boil this per se, but we will definitely be heating it up enough so that the grated soap has a chance to melt. I will be back with you when this gets closer to our final product. Okay, you can see that we are reaching our final product here. My soap is almost fully melted at this point. It's foaming a little bit because of the heat and stirring it, but we are getting close to being finished. One of the questions I get is, what's my soap going to smell like? Well, it will smell like the strongest soap you use, or the soap you use the most of. So in this instance, probably half the soap I had was, I think, Irish Spring, and Irish Spring has a pretty heavy scent to it. So that's what this is smelling like now. So just keep that in mind. It's okay if you mix scraps of soap. It will just take on the scent of the strongest soap you use, or the soap that you use the most of. Okay, I think we are going to call this finished. It's looking pretty darn melted here. I see a few pieces that are still floating around, but I don't want to boil this, so I'm just going to call it good at this point, and we are going to turn off the heat and strain this to get the unmelted bits out. Okay, you can see the little, the couple unmelted bits that we had in here. Incidentally, if you use artisan soaps or soaps that have an added organic material like oatmeal, then it becomes especially important that you strain out those bits, because if you don't and you're using it as a foaming hand soap, it will clog your dispenser. So that's the reason I strain. If you want to be extra careful, you can take a coffee filter and put it in the strainer, and that would give you an added measure of making sure you have a perfectly homogeneous product. So at this point, we will just let this cool for a little bit, and then I will decant it into my container. So I will be back with you in about 15 minutes. It's time to dispense this into my container, so we will do that now. I did swap my funnel out for one that was a little bit more stable in the mouth of my container. So you want to be careful with that, especially if your mixture is still warm. And hopefully this all fits as it should, because we measured the liquid before we started. Now it's foaming up a little bit, so I'm going to have to pour this in stages. So I will finish that up in a little bit. Okay, let's do a quick cost comparison. Now, if you buy foaming hand soap in the store in a container about the size that I was using, it's about $10, which is a lot of money. Making it at home using this method is basically free. So you can't beat that. And again, it's very easy to do. It takes just a little bit of time to grate that soap and heat it up, stir it around, strain it, and put it into your container of choice. And it's maybe 10 minutes total working time for something that is free and you can use in your foaming dispenser. Thank you guys for joining me today. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up and take a look at the channel. Subscribe as well. There's a lot of items to see on the channel. I do a lot of projects both inside and outside, so there's a lot for you to look at. But thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you on our next adventure.